Today we will do class 10's next chapter, metals and non-metals. So what are metals and what are non-metals? As you had already studied in your class 8, that metals are the material or the elements that have tendency to lose electrons from its valence shell, and they are electropositive in nature. And similarly, non-metals are just opposite of it. Non-metals are the elements that can gain electrons in order to become negative elements, and they have electronegative in nature. They have electronegative tendency. So we will do in detail that how they both react, what are their physical properties, what are their chemical properties, and along with this we will also learn that what are the exceptions of metals and non-metals regarding their properties. First of all, we will start with physical properties. Now, what are the physical properties of metals? They are very hard and they have high tensile strength. That means you can hear sound out of them. So second point is they are sonorous. They are mostly solids and they are good conductors of heat and electricity. They are malleable, they are ductile. You know malleability and ductility. Malleable means drawing up of metal into thin sheet, and ductility means to draw them into thin wires. Now, what is what about their melting point and boiling point? If they are solids, it means the high melting point and boiling point. They are dense and they have luster. This is very important. Why metals are used to making jewelry? Because they have lustrous. Lustrous means shiny appearance. Except some other exceptions we will do in later, right? Silver, that is gray in color. Like this you can say one exceptional. Now, what are non-metals? They are solid, liquid, gases at room temperature. Mostly they are liquids and gases. They are brittle. If they are solid, they are brittle in nature, and they are non-malleable. Means you can't draw them into thin sheets or thin wire, non-ductile, and they are bad conductors of heat and electricity. Again, I'll tell you that exceptions are there. Now we will do about exceptions. Now write down in detail. First exception is gallium, cesium. They have very low melting point. Instead of having metal-like properties, it melts very rapidly in our palm. Okay, so most of the papers you can get the question like this: name one metal or name two metals that have low melting point, and they can even melt on your hand or your palm. Okay, so the answer should be cesium and gallium. Now, this is first exceptional. Second is all metals are dense except osmium, that has high density, and lithium, that has low density. So these two are the metals having highest density and lowest density. Now, all metals are silver gray in color. All the metals are silver gray in color, as I was telling you in the metals properties, but except some like gold and copper. They have, what the color of gold, yellow, and copperish color. Okay, metals like sodium, potassium, lithium, they are soft solids. That means we can cut them even with the help of knife. All metals are mostly solid, but mercury is an exceptional, that is liquid. That's why we use mercury in thermometer also. Okay, lead and mercury, they both are poor conductors. So this type of question you can get, that name one metal that is poor conductor of electricity, that is lead. Iodine is non-metal but has high luster. Iodine is non-metal but it has luster. Otherwise, all non-metals are non-lustrous. Graphite, it is an allotrope of carbon, and that means graphite is a non-metal but it can conduct electricity. Again, diamond is again an allotrope of carbon, but it conduct heat and has a very high melting point, and you can cut even a glass with the help of diamond. That this is I mean to say that diamond is that much solid and that much harder in nature. Now, I think physical properties are clear to all of you. Now we will do about chemical properties. Now, metals: lithium, sodium, potassium. As I told you earlier, they are soft and you can cut even with the help of knife. So they are very reactive also. If they are reactive, that means they can react very vigorously with water and oxygen too. So first point you should note about chemical properties is lithium, sodium and potassium, they react vigorously with water and oxygen in air. Magnesium, that is it can react with water but with hot water. And aluminium, iron, zinc, it can react with steam only. And there are some metals that do not react with water. They are copper, silver, platinum and gold. So we will do something, some points that are very important, and that are, first of all, just note down about the reactivity series. Now what is reactivity series? The arrangement of metals in a decreasing order from top to bottom, in which we will study that on top there are most reactive, then it will decrease towards bottom, and least reactive will be on the bottom side. Okay, this you have to learn by heart because all of the chemical properties are based on it. Okay, so next question is sodium and potassium. These metals are kept immersed in kerosene oil. Why? Because as I am telling you that chemical properties of metals, that sodium and potassium are reactive towards water and oxygen, so they can catch fire easily in presence of air. That's why we have to keep them in kerosene oil. And another question that you can get about it is, what are alkalis? There are alkalis. What are alkalis? How do they form? The metallic oxide which gets dissolved in water, they form alkalis. Means when you react Na2O, that is sodium oxide, with water, you will get sodium hydroxide, and sodium hydroxide is alkali. And when you react K2O with, that means potassium oxide, with water, again you will get potassium hydroxide, that is again alkali. Okay, now we will do how they react. But before that, you have to learn one more important term that mostly most of the exams you will get it, and you will be getting it in MCQs or in one word answers also. What are amphoteric oxides? Amphoteric oxides are the metal oxides. Whenever I will use the word metal oxide, it means any metal along with oxide. Okay, like if I'm using metal oxide, that means it can be sodium oxide, it can be zinc oxide, it can be copper oxide, it can be lead oxide, it can be anything like. Okay, so amphoteric oxides are metal oxides which react with both acids as well as bases to form salt and water. So highlight it that it will give you salt plus water. So there are some amphoteric oxide like Al2O3, that is aluminium oxide, ZNO zinc oxide, lead oxide, SNO tin oxide, and PbO lead oxide. Okay, so I'm showing you two reactions also, that how they react with acid and basic. Al2O3, if you will react it with HCl, you will get AlCl3 plus H2O. That means AlCl3 is salt and water. Okay, so this was the reaction of a metallic oxide with acid. Now I'll show you the metallic oxide with the with base, like Al2O3 plus NaOH. You will get sodium aluminate. Please note down sodium aluminate, NaAlO2 plus water. Now we have to balance it. So accordingly you can balance it, that 2 NaOH and 2 NaAlO2. Again, like this, ZNO, PbO, CNO, they all, SNO, sorry, they all will react like this. Okay. Now next, one more term is very important, and that is, what is aqua regia? What is aqua regia? So solution that is made by mixing concentrated concentrated hydrochloric acid along with concentrated nitric acid in the ratio of 3:1. Aqua regia is known as royal water also, and it is very highly fuming and has highly corrosive nature in nature. Okay, Now we will do how metals react with water. First of all, reactivity of metals with water. When metals react with water, there are two types of metals. They are, first is most reactive and second is least reactive. So most reactive metals will react with water and form metal hydroxide, means MOH. Okay, OH or OH twice according to valency plus hydrogen gas. And least reactive metals will form metal oxide. So this is the difference. First of all, note down this thing, then we will do the reactions. Okay, now in highly reactive metals you will do sodium. When reacts with water, sodium hydroxide plus hydrogen gas forms, or calcium plus water gives calcium hydroxide plus hydrogen. Now in least reactive we can do the example of iron plus water. You will get Fe3O4 iron oxide plus hydrogen gas. Again you have to balance it. Okay, this much you must have understood. Now I'll tell you that reaction of metals with water, cold and steam. So with cold water only three metals will react, but we have to do two in detail because they are all are similar. Okay, with cold water, sodium, potassium and calcium, they three react with cold water. Reaction is same, just you have to write only cold. Or you in 1 marks of question you can get the question like name one metal that reacts with cold water, then you can give sodium or you can give calcium. Both are correct answer. Even potassium is the correct answer. Okay, so one example if you want to do, that is calcium plus Ca plus 2H2O, that is cold water, gives KCaOH twice plus hydrogen gas. Okay, now this is the reaction of metal with cold water. Now I'll tell you the reaction of metals with hot water. Only magnesium will react with hot water. Okay, so Mg plus H2O hot, you will get magnesium hydroxide plus hydrogen. But note down one more thing, that magnesium always floats on water. When react with water means it will form PPT like formation, that is precipitation, that does not dissolve in water. Okay, you can collect it like a froth. Now tell the metals that react with steam. This is again very important question you can get in exams. Tell the metals that react with steam. So with steam, aluminium, iron, zinc, these three react with steam. Aluminium, iron and zinc. So you can do the example again. Zn plus water, steam, then you will get ZnO plus H2. ZnO is amphoteric, ZnO plus hydrogen gas. Again you can do Fe plus H2O, Fe3O4 plus H2, and you will balance it 3 Fe, 4 H2O and 4 H2. Okay, so this much you must have understood. Now note one more thing, that there are certain metals that does not react with water at all. They are silver, gold, copper and lead. Okay, now we will do the reaction of metals with acids. Okay, now whenever we will do the reaction of metals with acid, we always use the word DIL dot, means dilute acids. Why we can't use concentrated acids? As they are very explosive in nature, so we can't use concentrated acids. So with acid means dilute acid, metal always forms salt plus hydrogen. Okay, with metal with dilute acids, they always form salt plus hydrogen. I can give you 1 or 2 examples, like sodium plus HCl gives NaCl plus hydrogen. Potassium plus sulfuric acid, K2SO4 plus hydrogen. Iron plus HCl gives FeCl2 plus hydrogen. Okay, and so on. Aluminium also can react with HCl, and you will get aluminium chloride, that is trichloride, AlCl3. Only magnesium and manganese react with nitric acid. So note down this point also. This is also very important, that magnesium and manganese, they only can react with nitric acid, again dilute nitric acid. So magnesium plus HNO3 gives MgNO3 twice plus hydrogen, magnesium nitrate plus hydrogen. And reaction of metals with bases. Now how do they react with bases? Earlier we were doing the reaction of metals with acids, you were getting salt plus hydrogen. Now we will do reaction of metals with bases, again you will get salt plus hydrogen, but in different way. Like sodium hydroxide plus zinc, you will get sodium zincoate, Na2Zn O2 plus hydrogen. Sodium hydroxide plus aluminium plus water, you will get sodium aluminate, 2 NaAlO2 plus 2H2. Okay, so this much you must have understood clearly. Do it slowly and do it again, then you will able to understand this. Okay, now third type of reaction is reaction of metals with metal solution. When you are reacting a pure metal with some metal solution, what will happen? The reactivity series that we did earlier, you have to learn that now more reactive element always displace a less reactive element from its compound or solution, and you will get a solution like this. If you are reacting metal plus salt solution, you will get a new salt solution plus new metal, like iron plus copper sulfate, you will get iron sulfate, and copper will be alone. Okay, so less reactive will be alone and more reactive will displace its position, so it is also known as displacement reaction. Now we will do reaction of metals with non-metals. What are non-metals? Again, they have negative tendency or they are electronegative in nature. Like sodium is positive in nature, so sodium in sodium ion will become Na positive, and chlorine has negative in nature. It needs one electron in order to complete its octet, so it will become Cl minus. So when we will react the two, we will get sodium plus Cl minus the salt NaCl. Okay, and what is NaCl? It is an ionic compound. What is ionic compound? Ionic means the compound that forms by the combination of two ions, like sodium ion and chlorine ion. And there is another one type of compound is also there, that is covalent compound, that we will do in carbon and its compounds. In this chapter you have to do the properties of ionic compounds only. Okay, so compounds formed by transfer of electron from metal to non-metal are called ionic compounds. What are its properties? Its physical nature is, it is solid, hard and brittle. As you must have seen your salt, common salt that is used in our house, in our kitchens. Melting point and boiling point of ionic compounds is very high. Solubility, it is soluble in water but not in kerosene or petroleum. Conduction of electricity, in molten state only it can conduct electricity, not in solid state. Now a question can arise in your mind, that why in molten state? Because in molten state it will mixed with, or it will be dissolved with water, and in water it will dissociate into ions, and ions can transfer electricity or carry electricity or conduct electricity. Okay, so this much we have done in part A. Now we will do the occurrence of metals, minerals, ores, gangue, everything in our part B. Okay students, bye and all the very best.